You feel it, don't you? That quiet, gnawing sense that you are living a small life. That you are a lion living in a cage of your own making, a thunder that has chosen to be a whisper. You are not living, you are surviving. But you know deep down that you were made for more. That there is a power within you that is being suffocated by your excuses, by your fears, by your comfortable and soul-crushing mediocrity. In the next few minutes, you will gain the power of a philosopher warrior. You will learn how to break the invisible chains of your own self-sabotage, how to declare war on the weak version of yourself, and how to finally and completely unleash the power that is your birthright. And you'll soon know the difference between the comfort of stagnation and the glorious and terrifying freedom of becoming who you truly are. Part 1. The betrayal of the self. Look at your life. Look at it with brutal and unflinching honesty. Are you living? Or are you merely not dying? Are you creating? Or are you just consuming? Are you becoming? Or are you just repeating? Friedrich Nietzsche, the great and terrible philosopher of power, had no patience for a life lived in the shadows. He saw it as a betrayal, a surrender, a crime against your own divine nature. Because within you, right now, exists a power that is being systematically and daily sabotaged. It is being sabotaged by your excuses, by your inherited beliefs, by your cowardice disguised as prudence. Every time you remain silent when you should speak your truth, you weaken yourself. Every time you choose what is comfortable instead of what is necessary, you drift further from your own greatness. Every time you settle for less than you deserve, you are sending a message to the universe and to yourself that you accept being small. And here is the cruelest and most liberating truth. No one is coming to rescue you. There is no savior, there is no master, there is no government, no partner, no guru, no magic formula. Your liberation will not come from the outside. It will be born from a single and non-negotiable decision. The decision to break with the weak version of yourself. That version that lives to please, that flees from pain, that fears judgment, that needs approval to feel alive. That version of you needs to die. Because as long as it exists, your true power will remain in captivity. But this prison is not made of visible bars. It is made of ideas, of beliefs, of the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you are capable of. And you have come to believe these stories so deeply that you don't even realize you are trapped within them. Self-sabotage, for Nietzsche, is a vice of weak souls. It is the fear of your own freedom. Therefore, if you want to live a life of power, you must start by breaking these invisible chains. You must face the fear of making mistakes, of failing, of disappointing others. Because the more you try to protect yourself, the further you drift from your own magnificent truth. Nietzsche believed that a human being only fully realizes themselves when they risk being misunderstood, hated, and rejected, all in the name of something greater, becoming who they truly are. This is the path of the warrior, the artist, the creator of values. It is the path of the one who dares to say yes to life in all of its terrible and beautiful and chaotic glory. Part 2. The art of self-overcoming. Most people live their lives trying to conquer the world. They compete for status, for likes, for higher salaries, for more admired bodies. They are caught in a desperate and exhausting struggle to prove their worth to others. But Nietzsche taught us a truth that shatters this superficial logic. True power is not about defeating others. It is about defeating yourself, and that is infinitely more difficult. Overcoming others can be a matter of skill, of strategy, of luck. But overcoming yourself requires courage. The courage to face your own vices, your own mediocrity, your own procrastination, your own lies, your own pride disguised as humility. It is a silent, invisible, and solitary war, fought every single day within the battlefield of your own mind. And most people give up before they even start. Nietzsche saw life as an eternal process of self-overcoming. He believed that the human being is not a fixed essence, but a becoming, a flow, a constant transformation. And that the only life worth living is one where you are constantly reinventing yourself, destroying yourself, and rebuilding yourself, like an artist shaping themselves into a masterpiece. But here is the detail that no one tells you. Self-overcoming hurts. It hurts because it requires you to betray the version of yourself that brought you to this point. That version that learned to survive, to protect itself, to avoid conflict, to hide. This version may have saved you at some point, but now it is limiting you. And to become someone new, you will have to kill it. Nietzsche had no romantic illusions about this process. He knew that growth is not a straight line. It is a spiral of ups and downs, of progress and setbacks, of days when you feel invincible and nights when everything seems to crumble. But it is precisely in this chaos that power is born. Because real power is not in never falling. It is in rising as a stronger and wiser and more beautiful version than the one that fell. Overcoming yourself means challenging that part of you that wishes to remain the same. It is saying no to the old excuses. It is breaking the patterns that have been repeated for years. It is looking at yourself with brutal honesty and admitting, I can do more, and I am tired of sabotaging myself. It is understanding that the suffering of change is preferable to the comfort of stagnation. Nietzsche presents us with the figure of the Übermensch, the Overman, or Superman. This is not a biological evolution. It is a psychological one. The Übermensch is the being who breaks with the herd morality, who abandons the need for approval, who does not seek to be accepted but to be authentic. And to get there, he must walk alone. He must leave behind the shackles of his inherited identity and forge a new existence, not as a product of his environment, but as a creator of his own meaning. The true measure of power, then, is the ability to bear your own unique and often painful truth. Part 3. The will to power, your inner driving force. What is it that drives this process of self-overcoming? What is the engine of this relentless and creative and life-affirming transformation? Nietzsche called it the will to power. And this is perhaps his most misunderstood and most important concept. The will to power is not the desire to dominate others, to control them, to impose your will upon them. That is a weak and reactive and pathetic expression of power. The true will to power is an internal and creative and expansive force. It is the fundamental drive of all life to grow, to expand, to overcome obstacles, to become more than it is. Think of a seed. A seed has a will to power. It pushes through the dark earth. It breaks through the asphalt. It reaches for the sun. It is not trying to dominate the other seeds. It is trying to become the most magnificent and powerful and beautiful version of itself that it can possibly be. This is the will to power. It is the life force itself expressing itself through you. And you feel this force within you every single day. You feel it In your restlessness, in your dissatisfaction, in your longing for something more. You feel it in your creative impulses, in your desire to learn, to grow, to explore. You feel it in your anger, in your frustration, in your refusal to accept the limitations that have been placed upon you. This is not your ego. This is not your ambition. This is your soul crying out for more life. But most of us have been taught to fear this force. We have been taught to suppress it, to control it, to channel it into safe and socially acceptable and ultimately soul-crushing pursuits. We have been taught to be good, to be humble, to be modest. But what if being good is just another word for being weak? What if being humble is just another word for being afraid? What if being modest is just another word for betraying your own divine potential? Nietzsche believed that the great and tragic mistake of Western civilization was the creation of a slave morality, a morality that glorifies weakness, that demonizes strength, that teaches us to be ashamed of our own natural and life-affirming instincts. And he called for a revaluation of all values, a radical and courageous and life-affirming new way of looking at the world, a way of looking at the world that sees power not as evil, but as the very essence of life itself. To live your will to power, therefore, is to stop apologizing for your own strength. It is to stop asking for permission to be magnificent. It is to stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you are worthy and to start declaring your own worth to yourself and to the world. It is to see your life not as a problem to be solved, but as a work of art to be created. And you are the artist. You are the sculptor. And you have the power to shape your life into a masterpiece. Part 4. The Creator's Handbook. How to live a life of power. So, how do you do it? How do you start to live this life of power, of self-overcoming, of creative and joyful and life-affirming transformation? It is not about a set of rules or a formula or a 5-step plan. It is about a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of living. Here are 4 principles to guide you on your path. First, you must embrace suffering, not as a punishment, but as a teacher, not as a sign of weakness, but as a source of strength. Nietzsche believed that the greatest and most beautiful and most powerful human beings are those who have suffered the most, because it is in the fire of suffering that our souls are forged. It is in the abyss of our own despair that we discover our own true strength. You must stop running from your pain. You must stop trying to numb it, to distract yourself from it, to pretend it doesn't exist. You must have the courage to turn and face it, to sit with it, to listen to it, to let it break you open. Because it is only when you are broken open that you can become something new. Second, you must become a creator of your own values. You must stop accepting the values of your family, of your culture, of your society as your own. You must have the courage to question everything, to think for yourself, to decide for yourself what is good and what is beautiful and what is true. This is the path of the free spirit, the path of the one who dares to live beyond good and evil. It is a lonely path. It is a dangerous path. But it is the only path that will ever lead you to true freedom. Third, you must live with a sense of eternal recurrence. Nietzsche's most powerful and most terrifying idea is the idea of the eternal recurrence. The idea that you will have to live this same life with all of its joy and all of its pain and all of its boredom and all of its beauty over and over again for all of eternity. And he asks us a simple and devastating question. If this were true, how would you live? Would you continue to live a life of quiet desperation, of comfortable mediocrity, of soul-crushing compromise? Or would you start to live a life that is so beautiful, so powerful, so meaningful, that you would be willing to live it again and again and again for all of eternity? This is the ultimate test of a life well lived. And finally, you must learn to love your fate. Nietzsche called this amor fati, the love of one's fate. It is the ability to say yes to everything that has happened to you, to everything that is happening to you, and to everything that will happen to you. Not with resignation, but with joy. Not with bitterness, but with gratitude. It is the understanding that everything in your life, the good and the bad, the joy and the pain, the triumphs and the failures, has been a necessary part of your own unique and beautiful journey of becoming. It is the ultimate act of self-acceptance, of self-love, of self-creation. It is the moment when you stop fighting against your life and you start dancing with it. This is the path of the Übermensch. This is the path of the one who has the courage to become who they are. It is a path of fire, of chaos, of creative destruction. But it is also a path of joy, of beauty, of a power so profound and so real that it will transform not just your life, but the very fabric of reality itself. And it is a path that is available to you right now. All you have to do is say, yes. Let's be clear. This is not a path for everyone. Most people will not choose this path. Most people will continue to live in the comfort of their own self-imposed prisons. They will continue to seek approval, to avoid conflict, to play it safe. And that is their choice. But it is not your choice. Because you are reading this, you are still here. And that means that something inside of you is hungry for more. Something inside of you knows that you were made for greatness. Something inside of you is tired of the lies, the excuses, the comfortable mediocrity. And that something is your will to power, calling you home. But I must warn you, this path will cost you everything. It will cost you your old identity. It will cost you your comfortable relationships. It will cost you the approval of the herd. It will cost you the illusion of safety. And in return, it will give you something that most people never experience in their entire lives: freedom. The freedom to be yourself, to create your own values, to live your own truth. The freedom to become who you were always meant to be. And here is the paradox. The moment you stop caring about what others think of you, you become magnetic. The moment you stop seeking approval, you become worthy of respect. The moment you stop trying to fit in, you become unforgettable. Because people are starved for authenticity, for power, for truth. And when they encounter someone who is living from their own deep and unshakable center, they are drawn to them like moths to a flame. This is not about becoming arrogant or cruel or selfish. This is about becoming real. This is about becoming whole. This is about becoming the fullest and most powerful and most beautiful expression of your own unique and magnificent soul. And when you do this, you give others permission to do the same. You become a light in the darkness. You become a beacon of possibility. You become living proof that another way of living is possible. Nietzsche understood that the world is not changed by the masses. It is changed by individuals, by singular and courageous and creative individuals who dare to break with the herd, who dare to think for themselves, who dare to create their own values, who dare to become who they are. And he believed that the future of humanity depends on the emergence of these individuals. He called them the Übermensch. but I call them something simpler. I call them free. So, the question is not whether you are capable of this transformation. The question is, are you willing? Are you willing to face your own weakness? Are you willing to embrace your own power? Are you willing to kill the old version of yourself so that a new and more magnificent version can be born? Are you willing to walk alone, if necessary, on the path to your own greatness? Because if you are, then everything changes. Your suffering becomes your teacher. Your pain becomes your power. Your life becomes a work of art. And you become finally and completely free. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The path is calling to you right now, in this very moment, and all you have to do is take the first step. All you have to do is say yes to your own wild and beautiful and terrifying power. All you have to do is become who you are. There is one final truth that Nietzsche understood, and that you must understand if you are to walk this path. Life is not a problem to be solved. It is a mystery to be lived. It is not a test that you pass or fail. It is a dance that you learn by dancing. It is not a destination that you arrive at. It is a journey that you take, one courageous step at a time. And the meaning of your life is not something you discover. It is something you create with every choice you make, with every word you speak, with every action you take. You are not a passive recipient of your fate. You are the author of your own story. You are the sculptor of your own soul. You are the creator of your own reality. And the power to shape your life into a masterpiece has been inside of you all along. It has been waiting for you to claim it. It has been waiting for you to say yes. And now, the moment has arrived. The question is no longer, can I? The question is, will I? Will you continue to live a small life, a safe life, a life of quiet desperation? Or will you have the courage to step into your own power, to embrace your own greatness, to become the person you were always meant to be? The choice is yours, and the time is now.